going on, boxing fans? So we just got official word, as many of us expected already. Floyd Mayweather and Andre Berto will be fighting September 12th, not on CBS, but on pay-per-view. Like I said, man, we've been mentioning this on the GYGB Boxing Podcast. I think this was the fight many of us thought at this point at least was going to happen. But my understanding and from the reports that were being put out, in the last month or so is that, they were attempting to put this fight on CBS as kind of a concession to the fans who've been paying, anywhere between $60 to $100 for, Floyd's fights for the past 8 years. But a few things kind of caught my attention as far as how long it took for them to actually announce the fight itself, and being that the fight is now on pay-per-view. I have a feeling that they were trying to do the whole CBS deal, but when you look at how much Floyd is guaranteed for one fight, I think it was tough for CBS to really commit to airing a fight that I think would have done a lot of it would have had a lot of views, and I'm sure it would have done big ratings. But I mean, that's $32 million that they got to give to Floyd, because my understanding is the Showtime and CBS contracts are two different things as far as what Floyd signed and him fighting on CBS and it complying with the Showtime contract. I think they're maybe trying to work around the contract, but obviously this is all speculation, but for me, it just seems as if maybe the numbers didn't add up, and they had to put this fight on pay-per-view. But as far as the fight itself, man, I mean, I think even Mayweather, the hardcore Mayweather fans have seen the fight that not only themselves, but we all wanted to see, which is the fight with Floyd and Pacquiao. So if this is kind of like his swan song, and I'll get to that in a second, fine. He's fought the Pacquiaos of the world, the Canelos of the world, the Cottos, the Mosleys, and what have you, and him picking Andre Berto to me isn't a surprise. I didn't think even after the Pacquiao fight he was going to go for a big challenge. I mean, even if you think somebody like a Keith Thurman or one of those guys, or a Kell Brook or a Khan, if anybody believes that they're a threat, I don't even think they were going to get a shot. Khan, I was thinking, but I think if Khan would have looked better against Algieri, I think he might have gotten the shot, but he didn't look that good, man. And I think they had to weigh their options out, and for Berto, it's kind of funny because Berto in some instance has been somewhat of Floyd's gatekeeper, particularly with Victor Ortiz and with Robert Guerrero, and it's kind of I guess I don't want to say ironic, but it's rather funny that he's granting his gatekeeper in a sense a shot at beating him. But for Floyd Mayweather, I think the question mark really lies on whether or not this is going to be his last fight. Now, I'm of the opinion that this will not be his last fight. And the reason I say that, and, so I've had debates with people about this, and some people take it the wrong way, and they're thinking I'm criticizing Floyd Mayweather, and I'm not at all. And we've talked about this on the show, and I've talked about this, and a lot of people agree with me. Floyd, to me, I believe is going to continue to fight because of how much money the guy spends on a normal basis. And again, I don't want to make it seem like I'm into Floyd's finances and how much he spends, but look, I think it's pretty obvious that the guy has a very incredibly rich or incredibly expensive lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? I mean, when you look at his traveling and the gambling and all the money that he spends in general, man. I mean, this is a guy that I don't see anything outside of boxing where he's gonna make $32 million off of one event or acquisition or anything of that nature. And there's talks of the fact that he might renegotiate his contract with Showtime or CBS Showtime for another 3 fights. Does he really need to do that? I mean, to me, I think this is the perfect way to go out. Minus him fighting Pacquiao in his last fight, he should wrap it up, man. I think he's starting, if he's going to continue to fight, and mind you, if he steps out again and gets out of the sport for a year and change, he's stepping into old man territory. And what I mean by that is, when we look at guys like a George Foreman and a Bernard Hopkins who fought beyond 40 years old, though they've had moments, particularly Hopkins, winning a title at 50 years old, Bernard didn't go undefeated through his 40s, and not in a sense beat up, but, at times, man, the old man did show up. And I think for Floyd, man, in the stature that he's, or the pedestal that he's put himself on and his fans have put him on, I think he's walking a fine line between taking the risk of continuing the fight because, and it's crazy to say about needing the money. Floyd doesn't, I mean, it's crazy to say that about Floyd Mayweather, but what I mean when I say that, though, again, it reverts back to just, this guy's lifestyle and the money that he spends in a month, man, is more than I think most of us will make in a lifetime. I mean, and that's just being real. And when you look at the potential of him to make money elsewhere, even as a promoter, okay, even if you put the promoter ad on him, he doesn't have a stock of guys. And again, he's not Al Heyman. Floyd doesn't own these PBC fighters. Technically, Floyd's a PBC guy. As far as you're going to consider all these guys Al Heyman fighters. But to me, man, I mean, he's going to continue to fight as long as he can make the money. The one thing I hope doesn't happen to him again, and we've seen it time and time and time again, where these fighters just don't know when to quit, and not so much of competitively, but for the money. And again, Floyd's not broke. We all know he's not broke. But he's got a very expensive lifestyle, man, and that ties into, how much you're making times, or I don't know if you say divided, but based on what you spend, can be relative to somebody who makes $70,000, $80,000 a year, but has like a $65,000, $70,000, $75,000 lifestyle, where you're kind of pinching pennies, but you're not looking at it in the big scheme of things as far as the overall money. And Floyd's a smart guy, man. I mean, I know it says I'm going on a rant as far as his finances are concerned, but I just can't help but think of what he's gonna do after he's done fighting, man, because I think he's gonna fall in line with a lot of these guys who, I think part of it competitively. I mean, Floyd's a competitive guy. I mean, I don't think there's any denying that, but he loves to make fucking money, man. And as long as he's able to make that type of money, I don't think he's going anywhere. At least I hope for his sake, he doesn't get into a position where, he becomes like a Roy Jones who just keeps fighting. I mean, I don't think so, but again, man, he's in that 40-year-old brink, and sometimes, father time catches up to you. And, some of these guys right now, I don't think would be Floyd Mayweather, but that could change in 2 years. If he bows out and gets out of the sport for a couple years, especially coming back at 40. So September 12th, man, Andre Berto gets a crack at Floyd Mayweather. And even with saying this, I mean, does Floyd have his title still intact? I mean, the WBO he doesn't have, but I don't believe he's been stripped of the WBC and the WBA. So are they for the titles? Is Berto isn't he an interim champion in one of those divisions? I think he's a WBA interim champion. I could be wrong. Who knows these days? So we're gonna talk more about it potentially this week, man. And we're gonna start our hangouts with the whole crew. Well, Ride or Die and Coltrane, I believe we're gonna be jumping on it. We're gonna be talking about this as well as just other random topics on top of the GYGB show that we have on Monday nights, and we're gonna be also moving to Blog Talk in September. So right now we're on TalkShoe.com. So you can search the last show we did last night. But we're going to be talking about this week the official announcement of Mayweather versus Berto. And then later this month, like we mentioned, we got Tarver versus Cunningham. We got Abner Maris versus Leo Santa Cruz. Another PBC on ESPN date. Looking forward to that one. But that's pretty much it, man. So I guess we'll just we'll be seeing Floyd Mayweather fight in a month. And, you know, we'll be talking more about it, and we'll just have to see what the lead up is to this fight. So as I always say, subscribe, hit the links every Monday night, GYGB Boxing Podcast on TalkShoe.com. Just search GYGB, and you can check me out on Instagram, Roberto_Flack. And until next time, salute. I'm out of here.